spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Story. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us. My name is, of course, Daniel Parker, and I am the writer and creator of a little comic book called Angels Awakening, which is now sitting at 95 backers.
Let's get in those other 5.
Yes, 5 away from 100. So if you haven't backed the book yet, you still got some time to back to get a copy and get your own copy. We're going to be obviously September is coming up pretty soon, and fingers crossed that's when we're going to be starting fulfillment. So get on this while you can.
Yes, indeed. And of course, I'm Darth Bobcat, also who writes under the name DB Fastbinder, and my amazing powers of prediction. My pizza arrived the moment that countdown started for the stream.
Of course.
It's like, it was amazing. I just...
yeah. You called it. You called it, and it happened.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Bobcat here and got his pizza, and we've also got his book right here, Confessions of the MAGPIE Wizard, Book 1. And if you haven't, and as you can no doubt see on my screen there, hopefully I didn't share it. Hopefully it didn't show any personal info there. I need to log out of Amazon, but when I share this, but yeah, if you haven't picked up this book yet, it's only it is
$2.99 for the Kindle edition, or $13 if you want to hold it in your hands.
Right. And is it always $2.99, or are you running a?
That's a normal price. But what they do on there is they compare it to the most expensive edition possible to make it look like it's on sale.
Okay.
So they're comparing it to the paperback.
All right.
Pretty sneaky, sis.
Yes. So book 1 and book 2 are out now. Link to book 1 is in the description down below, and if you follow it, you can find book 2 in there as well.
Yep. Go buy some more copies, so next time it can be a large pizza.
Yeah. Yes. So as always, what Bobcat and I are saying is,
buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book.
Yes. All right. So getting into the video today. So Bobcat, how was your day today?
It wasn't the best, man. At my day job, we had 2 people call out, and so I didn't get to any of the extra tasks I had today. Just was kind of slamming the phone all day. But that's not why you're here. That's not why anybody's here is to listen to this. And it's all stopped because I'm being mindful of the audience.
Yes. Exactly. Yes, and that is what we're talking about today. Is when you're writing in a particular genre, to be mindful of who your audience is, and writing your story according to that.
Right, because it's one of those things where it's surprisingly easy to screw up, even though you wouldn't think so.
Yes, and of course, if you're writing, say, a romance story, who usually reads romance stories?
So you could argue that a lot of action stories are also stealth romance stories. But if you're just going for the romance by itself, probably women.
Yes. So writing a romance story from a male perspective or for a male reader is probably not the best way to go.
Oh, gee, now you tell me.
Oh, oops.
Nah, that's fine. I'm basically I'll talk about my audience I'm aiming for later, but and Daniel, hey, Colin.
Hey.
And Daniel, let's say that you were writing a children's story. Are you trying to make something that, or should you, I don't know, feature a gory dismemberment of an animal halfway through?
I would say no.
That's probably the safe answer.
Yeah.
I used to be, at one point I was considered being a school librarian. I can tell you that would not fly.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the trick is that, and Kyle makes a point, as a male, I thoroughly enjoy romance, and that's true. There are definitely, I would just say that the majority of romance that doesn't have something special added to it or something extra added to it is pointed at women.
Yes.
As the main audience. The way you trick men into reading a romance story is making it about superheroes or science fiction, or like, everyone loves the romance of Han Solo and Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make the guys care by putting laser swords and space battles in it. Yes. It's also the same way you trick a male audience into signing up for a soap opera, which is basically what, like, say, the best X-Men comics are.
Yeah. got a nice love triangle there with Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like, who's the secret third Summers brother? Someone has amnesia. It's basically just, it's such a soap opera, but we love it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like I said, it's probably, in some instances, it's probably easy to say, like going back to Bobcat's example, if you're writing a children's book, probably not show a dismemberment halfway through the book. But in some cases, it can actually be easy to forget who you're writing for. For example, modern day comics, they've seemed to have completely forgotten who their audience is, or they know who the audience is and they just don't care. And they don't want those people. They don't want that core audience reading books. So,
Yeah, it's actually, I have two really good examples. So DC Comics has been making a push into making young adult novels, which they are graphic novels, I should say. And they've had some really nice successes, and their successes and failures really show like the benefit of targeting the audience. And let me just pull this up real quick. Let's see here. So, A Tale of Two Comics. And Daniel, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and send these over to you. So this will just take me a moment.
Oh, okay.
We're doing it live. All right.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So this one, are the gallant of our situation here, sending that over through the private chat.
All right.
Is one called Primer. Primer, if you look at the Amazon sales ranks, is one of DC's most consistently sold graphic novels, period. Hundreds or thousands of copies every single month. And the only thing that does it consistently for DC is things like Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. And there are even months where Primer outsells that. This isn't tied to any existing property. It's just a kid's story about a young girl who gets a whole bunch of super science paints, and each paint gives her a different superpower. So it's like, so what do kids like? Well, kids like seeing characters who can do cool things. They like cute, attractive art. They like, isn't that kind of a kid's fantasy to just get as messy as you want?
Yeah.
And then go wreck stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, what's really crazy is this I think this caught them completely by surprise how popular this was, because there was not a second book yet, and it's been like about a year or so since the first one came out.
Yeah.
So they honed in on the audience. It's very approachable. It's fun. It's just nice and fun. And has good art. Meanwhile, let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, say hello to Nubia, Real One. Done that along too.
Yeah. All right. And
There was another one I could have chosen that made the rounds and still is making the rounds a bit, called I Am Not Starfire, but this one is even more egregious. So Nubia, Real One briefly was on the sales chart and then just plummeted. This is designed to be a young adult novel, or graphic novel, which means that it is targeted at kids through teens. They say this one is grade levels 9 through 12, so which seems reasonable, because it features, I believe, multiple F-bombs. There's a strong tone of just an unlikable main character and just constant, like, what I would call racial grievance, which, that's fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's also a school shooting partway through the story.
Ooh.
Which means that, congratulations, if the F-bombs didn't get you out of a school library, you think they're going to let a school librarian stock a book featuring a school shooting?
Probably not.
Yeah. Do you want to be the librarian when the parents find out about that?
No, I would not want to be that librarian. You would be an ex-librarian.
Yes. So it's basically, okay, so the art isn't particularly fun. The colors are dull and washed out. It's a depressing slog of a story that features elements that will completely eliminate you. Oh, F you. Like, scroll down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
F you. Nobody buys Nubia and Primer at the same time. Come on. You lie.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Meanwhile, the third one in the row there is they actually have their middle grade hits, or their middle hit is they have a bunch of graphic novels about Raven and Beast Boy and romance, which I guess proves Kylem's point that guys like romance too, because it's like that's kind of the in between. It's like they figured, okay, who does the internet ship from Teen Titans? Raven and Beast Boy. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. Well, at least it's Raven and Beast Boy, and not like, Raven and Starfire. Or
yeah. Okay. To be fair, the internet ships everybody with everybody else, but
that's true. Yeah.
What ship was actually present in the show?
Yes. Okay, so that was towards the end of the book.
Thanks for fact checking.
Yes. Thanks, Cengiz. All right.
So let's see here. So what else? So that's kind of a key example there of how even the same company with running a similar product can just completely shoot themselves in the foot for their target audience.
Yes.
Now, could you make a kid-friendly graphic novel that touched on racial issues, starring Nubia, who's basically the Black Wonder Woman? I forget if she was made of clay or if she was of somebody. I think they adopted her and brought her and raised her as an Amazon. I forget the exact origin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a fake geek. When it comes to Wonder Woman, I'm a fake geek girl. I'll just admit it right now.
Yeah, me too.
But you could totally make a kid-friendly story that touched on those themes. You would just have to not write it like a miserable adult.
Right. Yeah, and another example of that would be with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, for those of you who probably don't know, the original comic book of Ninja Turtles was not kid-friendly. It was very adult, and it pretty violent and very dark. It was actually kind of like the first live-action movie in terms of the tone. But then when they started making toys and then they started doing the animated series, I had to make it more kid-friendly.
Yep. Now I could imagine somebody who was a big fan of the original comic books being extremely let down by the cartoon.
Yes. Yes, they did that.
They merged Shredder. Fun little factoid. The original Turtles comic was actually a big parody of Frank Miller's Daredevil run. Like, the reason that Splinter's called Splinter was because Daredevil's master was called Stick.
Ah. Yeah, and apparently,
and the foot, and they had the hand ninja in Ninja Turtle, or Daredevil versus the Foot.
The Foot Clan, yeah, and apparently, the Laird and Eastman, they just made them as a joke. Like they just drew up like turtles and gave them ninja weapons and stuff. It was a complete joke because they were making each other laugh, and then they're like, "Oh wait, we're onto something here." But
that's the hell of creation sometimes, is that the thing you put your blood, sweat, and tears into just rots on the shelf, and then the thing you do as a lark that you weren't actually had any plans for becomes one of your best sellers.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So the other thing too with your knowing your audience, and especially with a particular genre, is also you have to figure out like what other people are doing, what kind of stories they're telling, and either bounce off of that, not necessarily completely copy them, but like maybe just kind of like bounce off of it and try to do something kind of similar to it, or almost like a Frankenstein monster of it. So for example, in the late 70s, when Star Wars came out, everybody was doing Star Wars ripoffs. You had all these Star Wars knockoffs that people were making. You had like what was that one?
Battlestar Galactica actually got sued for being too close to Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you had like Star Crash, which was a really, really bad B movie. Although it seems to have gotten a cult following to it, but right around that same time, that Star Trek was brought back, and they made Star Trek the Motion Picture. Well, audiences at that time wanted a space adventure with a lot of lasers and explosions and stuff like that, which Star Trek the Motion Picture didn't have any of that. It was a pure Star Trek story. Well, as much as some Star Trek fans might like a pure Star Trek movie, that's not what the audience at the time wanted. So, and then you flash forward 3 years later, and you get Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which had a lot of that.
Right. It was a much more interesting movie. The motion picture has a very interesting thing, because as I recall, it was made up of, in part, footage from it was either this leftover script or the leftover footage from a failed TV revival.
Yes.
Which is why you have a bunch of characters that you never heard from again.
Yeah. And like Ilea, the bald chick in there, she was from the TV show, and they just brought her over to the movie. And actually the story of that movie is very similar to an episode from the original show. It was called The Changeling. It had kind of a similar thing with a sentient machine that was on board the Enterprise, and treated all the crew members like just superfluous, people didn't need to be there.
Oh, it's because it thought the ship was the person.
Right. I think it was voiced by James Doohan.
Yeah, that's a good. If you turn down the Scotty voice, no, am I getting? No, yeah, he was Scotty, right?
Scotty, yeah.
Yeah, you turn down the Scottish accent, you could totally pass him off as anybody else.
Yeah. That was. Sorry to go off on a little tangent here, but when I heard like James Doohan's normal voice and then Walter Koenig's, I'm like, what? You mean they're not really Scottish and Russian?
Yeah. So if you're a fan of Walter Koenig, have you ever seen Babylon 5?
I haven't, but everybody keeps telling me I need to watch it.
I will join in the chorus. I'll entice it by saying that Koenig does a really good job as the leader of Psychor. He's a creepy mofo.
Ah, okay.
Biggest thing I would say is that the show ends at 4 seasons, but aren't there movie spinoffs and or in universe movie spinoffs and a 5th season and a show spinoff that lasted 1 season? No. There are 4 seasons of the show. If you watch it through and you say, DB, I'm ready for the recommendation on the one good movie, I will give it to you. but I watched it through a couple years back with some friends slowly, and our overall conclusion was that the movies were eminently skippable. However, here's the thing. I bet the core audience who was waiting with bated breath every week for more Babylon 5 was just super hyped when they saw that there were some TV movies coming out.
Yeah. That's I have no doubt of that. And hello, Edward.
Yeah, so that's the. Oh, hey, Edward.
Yeah. So I think with Babylon, I mean, I remember used to seeing, I would see the previews and stuff for Babylon 5. I think the battle scenes kind of looked a little cheesy.
Oh. Yeah, that's the one thing. They were actually made on Amiga PCs.
Oh.
So like you just learn to accept it after a while because the writing is so good. And a lot of the acting is good too.
Yeah.
But
Tron's in that show, isn't he?
Tron. I couldn't tell you. I actually haven't seen Tron. Man, I somehow ended up seeing the Disney movie, or like the sequel that they kicked with the half 3D one.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the original Tron to completion.
Wow.
Yeah, but man, I'm just racking up the fake geek girl points here.
Yes, you are. Jeez.
Let's go back to the main topic while I still have a little bit of credibility.
Yeah.
To be fair, there are people out there who haven't seen Star Wars and are proud of that fact, so I'm not going to
that's true. Yeah. Well, I have never seen Titanic, so
it's 3 hours. Is it worth a 3-hour tour?
I thought it was 3.5 hours.
Yep, it's official now.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So to go back to the audience thing,
Yes.
now there are things you can do to entice an audience, and the thing is, like, there is no such thing as, well, there's the mythical 4-quadrant movie or 4-quadrant story, which appeals to, let's see here, it basically would appeal to audiences of all ages on some level. Like, say, the best Marvel movies are 4 quadrants, because, like, let's say we take Iron Man. There's a romance for the ladies, plus a charismatic male lead. There's cool action for the action heads. The kids can enjoy it because it's a cool iron guy blowing things up. And so the story isn't super tilted towards any particular age demographic. You can be any age and understand Tony Stark.
Yes.
And sympathize with him. Now, those stories do exist, but it's not necessarily the best idea when you're writing to necessarily think and like to try to make that. because you can be a little bit, how to put it, a little vague, I guess, or a little bit tasteless, a little bland. Bland is the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of 4-quadrant stuff does well at the time, but but if we looked up the top 10 movies of 2005, most people listening wouldn't distinctly if they saw them, they probably wouldn't distinctly remember a lot of them. Yeah, let's test that theory.
I was just about to say. Let's see if I can pull that up here.
All right.
Top 5
According
movies.
Might not have picked the best. Okay, actually, this is a pretty decent mix of. So this is IMDb's popularity ranking.
Okay.
You know what? I'll just go ahead and.
I've also got it by box office too.
Okay, let's do it by box office. I like that number better than IMDb's vague popularity ratings.
Right. Yeah. So are we doing top 5?
Let's take a look at the top 5 and then see if anything else that looks interesting.
Okay. So number 1, Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
Oh no, it was Revenge of the Sith year. Oh, I effed up.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. We'll keep going. Number 2, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Number 3, War of the Worlds.
Okay, that one everybody has completely forgotten.
Yeah, that was Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg. I think I saw that movie once on HBO, and I don't really remember it very well. All I remember about that movie was Tom Cruise was a bad father, and he was trying to escape the alien invasion with his daughter.
Got to keep those statins up, man.
Yeah, exactly. And all right, so number 4, The Chronicles of Narnia. I believe it's.
I screwed up. I just pulled a year out of my head that wouldn't have Marvel movies in it.
And then number 5 is Wedding Crashers.
Okay, so I think Wedding Crashers is still remembered fondly, though I don't really hear people talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I might occasionally hear somebody talk about, like maybe quote it, but
to answer your question, Edward, we ourselves don't have a Discord server. That isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, we probably should do that. Have like our own little writer community Discord server.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion, Edward. We'll definitely keep.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Yeah,
I'll call it a good sign that we've had one requested.
Yes. All right.
Okay. So while that particular year was a bad comparative choice.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do the year before. Let's do 2004. 2004 is not much better.
Yeah. Okay. Look, but the thing is that there are a lot of 4-quadrant tentpole movies that are released that have no flavor and don't stand the test of time. Also, most of those top 10 movies that did stay remembered, it's because they were basically, how to put this, tied into an existing franchise. Like Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith and Harry Potter are not fair comparisons.
Right, yeah.
So to go back to my original point, man, my credibility is just taking a hammering today. This is what happens when you do it live sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
So anyway, the point I was going to make is that you as a writer are. It's actually kind of hard when you're breaking in to rise above the noise in 4-quadrant. You're probably best off settling on an audience of a particular genre. And like Daniel was saying before, it's extremely smart to figure out what's going on in that genre. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times I've been talking with. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who clearly write more than they read in a particular genre, talking like they've had the most amazing genre-shattering idea ever. It's like, dude, did you not see that movie from 2 years ago? It's like oh man, I really want to. Like I'll give you an example. I once considered writing an isekai story, like a big parody of how stupid they were. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna like make it. The guy's gonna be reborn as something ridiculous, and then I saw that there's actually one where a guy is reborn as a mostly mute vending machine.
Oh, God.
And the only phrases he could say are the pre-recorded phases, and he generates, like, he gathers magic to make like buff potions and stuff like that for the cat girl who finds him.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, I can't tell you just how like at that moment I said, okay, isekai is immune from parody. I am best off staying away from that genre unless I decide to just make a straightforward story in it.
Yeah.
Since then, I have seen Reborn as a milk-drinking succubus. I shouldn't say I haven't seen that. I've just seen that it exists.
Yes.
Reborn as a sword.
There's one that's slime.
Oh yeah, slime isekai. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
The weird thing is the new trend in isekai seems to be, man, my daily life sucks. I wish I could just be reborn and just have like a quiet life somewhere. Fantasy world is cool. I just don't want to go fight the devil or anything.
Yeah. Don't want to fight any dragons.
Yep. It's like, there's another one where a guy just goes to this other world, falls in love with a local woman, and raises a family while he runs a shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and that's actually part of the, like, do you think a lot of people would read a light novel or a book that was just about a guy who ran a shop? No, but like the hook of the isekai thing somehow drags people in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in a fantasy world? Okay, I'll read about the daily life of this guy who runs a shop.
Yes. Oh God, you do a story about one of the shop owners in an RPG.
Yeah, they'd probably have some stories to tell.
Yes.
So probably now the other thing is that your isekai story about the shopkeeper in an RPG probably is going to turn off people who, or I should say, they'll definitely turn off people who don't know what an RPG is or who have never played one.
Right.
And that's kind of like where you have to decide how tight is your focus.
Yeah, and the tighter your focus, the more limited, the smaller your audience will be.
But on the flip side, that small audience can just absolutely love you to death and propel you to greatness.
Yes. And when that happens, don't forget who brought you there.
Indeed. In fact, I would say that the biggest example of the people who don't like you won't like you, and the people who love you will just love you to death is anything that looks too furry.
Oh.
And I said on Twitter that there was going to be talk of furries here.
Yes.
Now, before we get started, furries are fine people. No objection to them. You do the art that you want to do.
Yeah.
The thing is that for a lot of people, that is an immediate nope. Like what was Micah's bounty on watching Beastars again? Wasn't it $1,000?
It was $1,000. Yeah.
For reference, he will happily watch most anime for reviews for like $25.
Yeah.
Or like $50, or just depending on the length of the series.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely a genre, a subgenre of fiction that appeals to depending on how the story is. You could have there are plenty of anthropomorphic stories out there that are meant for children. Plenty of those out there, or maybe older children, like the aforementioned Ninja Turtles. So I mean, so that's something to keep in mind, like how you want your how you want to do with the if you're going to go that route. But as Darth Bobcat stated, it's not going to be for everybody.
Right. Probably the closest to and it's sort of an interesting thing where it's like if you're an adult, the only way to trick you into watching, or the average adult is to trick them into watching something that's anthropomorphic, is to make it a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
And incidentally, there are very compelling reasons that an author might choose to make their story about anthropomorphic people. It's we were talking about how it's kind of on the nose to have the one story you give the black version of Wonder Woman be about race relations. On the other hand, if she was like a cat in a city of dogs or something like that, that's something you could give to kids and actually talk about race relations without being too on the nose.
Yeah, you're not bludgeoning the reader over the head with the message you're trying to tell. It's
and also because you aren't like calling out any real world group, people in that real world group who might be doing stuff you don't like might see themselves and go, "Oh, wait a minute, is that what I'm doing?"
Mm-hmm.
So just I'm sure you guys have seen that sliding scale of furry. I just can't find it without it dropping an N-bomb. Actually, here's like I'm gonna mind if I show my screen for a moment.
Oh, sure.
All right, share screen. Yes. I know how this works. All right. Let's see here.
Okay.
So here's your furry scale. I would say that. Okay, so A, obviously just about anybody can relate to A.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is showing, right?
Yes.
Excellent. F, you could probably get most people to watch if it's like targeted at kids, because then it just looks like it's it's a cat person with slightly anthropomorphic elements.
Mm-hmm.
I would peg Zootopia around C, which like Zootopia is like the most anthro-friendly thing I've seen that had wide scale success.
I would agree with that, and they're fully clothed. Well, yeah. Except for
okay, Sonic the Hedgehog is a weird case.
Yeah.
Because like the parent company doesn't even know what they're doing with it. So
yeah, that's true.
But if you told somebody, "Oh yeah, I really liked," I bought my kids a copy of. Actually, I'm going to change my example there. Oh yeah, I just watched Zootopia. Oh, that new Disney movie. Yeah, you aren't weird. Hey, I did. What did you do tonight? Oh, when I go home, I always draw Sonic the Hedgehog fan art. Huh. But you don't need to worry about babysitting my kid anymore. We canceled our date night just now.
Yeah.
And Edward, no, my book does not have any furries in it.
Mine doesn't either. No, neither of our books have any furries in it.
Yes. Actually, are devils furries? No.
No.
Maybe you could argue if they had like satyr feet.
Yeah, maybe.
Even then, though, no.
Jeez.
Now again, I just like rattled off the idea of a cat moving into a city of dogs. I could see myself writing that. The art style would probably be like C or F from that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, where's the furry spy book, Daniel?
It doesn't exist, and nor will it ever exist.
Well, you see, Jessica is actually a furry. She just is very good at hiding it. That's her real spy powers, not the telekinesis or the
teleportation. Yeah, no.
She puts most of her magic power into hiding her ears and tail.
Yes.
I'm sorry I spoiled book 4 there.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
I guess,
Now,
I guess I'll have to rewrite it now.
yes, I have to completely rewrite the series now. Yeah, jeez.
So yeah, so basically, around as much fun as we're having, like, I want this actually thought process was what brought us to this topic.
Yes.
Is the realization, like, is there a way to drive, like, totally attract one audience and drive away another? And the answer was furry art.
Yes.
So, and it's like you also got to make what you like. Like, if you like furry art, then know who your audience is. Like, just understand you're not going to get John Q. Public into your comic book, but you can make a lot of money if you market it right to the built-in target audience, because they love that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. This. Yeah, I was just thinking this. When we came up with the topic, like, this is just as much of a stream about marketing as it is about creating a story. Because I mean, when you're crafting a story and then you know your audience, and then you have the audience, and then you're basically marketing that story to the audience. If I'm making any sense.
Oh, you absolutely are.
Okay.
Basically, unless you're writing the story completely for your own consumption and nobody else's, you're thinking about what the audience is going to respond to it with.
Mm-hmm.
And certain things will appeal to certain audiences and not others. I actually have a marketing example myself. So I'll periodically... Yeah, that's the thing, is that furry art can seem kind of interesting and cute until you come across the one that destroys your perception of it forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's and then it's like, and after that, I'm finally, like, 15 years later, I'm able to look at an anthropomorphic drawing of a fox without squid, without, like, just.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a while there, I couldn't even look at photos of foxes without getting weirded out.
Yeah.
It's been a slow process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, foxes seem to get it worst for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
so,
rabbits.
yeah.
Mm.
So going back to my marketing example, so there's a service I use called Bargain Booksy, which, for any of you who are going to be writing your own Kindle novels, is actually a really nice service. It's made by it's this marketing tool done by Four Words Media, or Written Word Media, excuse me. And what they do is they have these mailing lists of people who are interested in different genres of writing, and you can pay X dollars. I'm not going to name any prices here, but and it's like, okay, this mailing list for, I would say, science fiction has this many subscribers, and you pay this much to be on it for a day. And it's best to pair this with when you have your book on a sale, like I did last week. So usually I've been targeting the fantasy section of that with my MAGPIE Wizard books, because it seemed like the best fit, because it's a romance fantasy book, but it's heavy on the fantasy elements.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, I'm not gonna name prices here, but basically, cost of being on the fantasy list was X with Y subscribers. But if you went for the paranormal romance list, it was 2X with 3Y followers. So I said to myself, might be worth putting in the extra money for, to try to target a new audience who I haven't done before, who might be interested in it. I sold about 2/3 as many as I usually do, targeting the fantasy people, even though it was specifically a paranormal romance section, which is like romance with like a fantastical bent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, let's take a look at I call myself a fantasy romance. Let's take a look at the top 10 on Amazon. It's like, oh, photos of guys with abs. That's what all the covers are. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have just called myself a fantasy story or something. But that was a fail on my part of not really looking into the genre I was playing in, at least the category I was playing in. Now, mind you, I still do decently well for myself, but I sometimes think, man, what if I just like narrowed my genre more? But so that's a story of regret. Learn from my mistake. Check the top 10 of your whatever list you put yourself in on Amazon for abs.
Check for abs.
Yep, they're hiding here somewhere.
Yeah.
He said, eating another slice of pizza.
Yeah. Well, I'm not one to talk either. But yeah, it's but Bobcat actually brings up a good point. Brings up something. With him writing in prose and writing novels, the majority of fiction readers or novel readers are women.
Yep.
And when I was initially thinking about doing my series as novels instead of comic books, I took James Patterson's masterclass, and that was one of the things he said was, when you're writing a novel, write it for a woman, because that's who usually reads books, are women. And of course, Patterson being a mystery, crime thriller author, most of his readership is women, because women love those stories.
Yep. And making a story for somebody isn't actually, you can actually tell very much the same story, just twist it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, let's go ahead and see. So if you're, how to put this, if Angel's Awakening was a prose novel, Bogdan's booty shots of Jessica would probably not be the best advertising tool.
No.
You'd not saying you couldn't write a successful novel about Jessica as a super spy. It's just the cover you might go something more subdued with the sex appeal.
Yes.
Edward hasn't seen them yet. Yeah, let's go ahead and.
Lord. Okay.
You want to be number 96?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here you go.
Yep.
And here you go.
Yep.
So and there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah. So, ass indeed.
Yes. Oh, number 2. Okay. So
unless it's in a pants fitting contest.
Yes.
So, all
right.
So yeah, so you could still have those characters. You could still have those characters look like that in the universe of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you wouldn't necessarily slap that on the cover. What you'd probably do is you'd introduce like a wealthy count who is her, the Charlie to her Charlie's Angels, and like make him a more prominent thing in like a romance angle.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Magpie Wizard, I would actually say, is reasonably targeted for a female audience. I just might not do the best job presenting it. Now, it's kind of a very weeby book in its own way. So people who like light novels and isekai stories and things like that tend to like it too. Partially because, I guess, if we showed off yours, well...
Yeah, I'll show off yours now.
Let's show this one. Computer, you have 16 gigabytes of RAM. You have no excuse right now. All right, so we'll go ahead. Okay, there is an option to not show the tips again. Okay. Well, this is Miss Edwards, one of the teachers at the school in my Magpie Wizard novels. There are basically two classes of people who are aware of Magpie Wizard. The ones who are aware of the custom character art I get commissioned for fun, and those who just found the book on Kindle and are blissfully unaware that it's a waifu heavy series. So technically, I've done the audience segmenting thing where, because of how it's like it would be clear if you were. Now, it's not a picture book. I just get these made for fun and advertising. I have plans once I make it bigger to release light novel editions that would have pictures in them. But for now, these are just like character concepts and things like that.
Yeah.
But because that would get expensive fast.
Yes. Yeah, it would.
Miss Edwards will see you after class.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead.
Here, let me
go ahead and stop sharing there.
All right. Yeah. I was about to turn that off there.
Edward, if you have a Twitter account, my Twitter is DBFastbinder. Go ahead and give me a follow there, and if we do, and tune into the show. If we do a Discord for the channel, we will let you know.
Yeah. And
or just subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, subscribe, and my Twitter is Daniel_Parker63.
Yep. but yeah, so it's basically you could read the book and it's funny, some people like immediately pick up on the anime elements and other people just don't.
Yeah.
So I seem to have managed to split the difference a little bit, where it's like the people who like a weeby book can enjoy a weeby book, and the people who just want, oh, it's Harry Potter but slightly more adult. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And I do actually have a spin-off novel about one of the female characters, so I guess I'm following James Patterson's advice without knowing it.
Yeah. Yes, and I've got some new ideas that I'm playing around with too. Obviously I have other stories planned out in the Angels Awakening series, and then I've got another superheroine duo that I'm playing around with right now, and Bobcat's seen some of the art, and if you follow me on Instagram, yes.
The other, and that actually brings us to another thing, is that so for pros, your primary audience is probably going to be female, or at least if you target a specifically male audience, you have a smaller slice. And the sad thing is, it seems like the only things that you can get you a male audience that's consistent on Amazon is if you do like a fan servicey harem series with half pornographic covers.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, a graphic novel like Angels Awakening is like more, that audience is more male. Not that women don't read comics, but they tend to be more into manga in America, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've found that to be the case.
But so it also just means like, let's say that you're writing Spider-Man. Maybe you don't have Spider-Man wear a T-shirt about ask about my feminist agenda while he sleeps on Mockingbird's couch as a shiftless loser.
Yeah.
Because maybe the male audience likes Spider-Man and wants to admire him and think he's cool.
Yes, and they don't want him to think he's a loser male feminist who's crashing on some chick's couch.
Right. Or maybe when you make your He-Man show, you admit that the primary audience who would want to watch a show about He-Man are people who like He-Man.
Yeah.
Like a Tila show has an audience, but it's a much smaller built-in audience.
Yes. It's the audience that would watch She-Ra, the old She-Ra, not the new She-Ra.
Right, and the new She-Ra did find an audience, so that's successful targeting.
Yeah.
I just that, and this is the this is the funny thing. So I'm going to be mean about this for a moment. If somebody spends 8 hours a day on Twitter, they probably don't have any money to give you for your comic book, or for your merchandise, or for your or to buy Blu-rays of your TV show when it comes out.
Yeah, I would say that's a safe bet.
Yeah, like it's a funny thing. Like, people have to see the people who like spend all day, and I've been in that category too. People who spend all day like complaining about things they don't like in fiction probably actually enjoy complaining about fiction more than they do consuming it.
Yes. And fiction's probably not the only thing they complain about.
Mm-hmm. But it's like this weird thing in marketing where all of these big multinational companies have decided, oh, let's listen to what they say on Twitter about what our stories, and we'll just do everything they say.
Yes, because somehow they think Twitter is real life, and it is not.
Yep. So if you take no other lessons, basically give Twitter a wide berth if you're designing a story.
Yes.
Because guess what? Twitter loved Newbie, a real one. They didn't buy it, but they liked it. They liked that it existed. They probably pirated it. Oh, God. That's the other funny thing. There was this X Factor comic book that every time it came, that by a writer named Leah Williams, which from everything I've heard wasn't a particularly good comic, but it ticked a lot of right boxes with the identities of the people in the comic. It's like every time an issue came out, everybody was super excited, and they'd post on Twitter, and they'd post their favorite pages from it, often without remembering to crop out the read free comics online watermark. And then it's like, wait, why is it selling less than 20,000 copies an issue? And so it got canceled around issue 10 because Marvel accidentally made a comic book that was perfect for Twitter pirates.
Oh,
who haven't seen a comic book store possibly in their entire lives.
Jeez.
So
do your research.
Yes.
when you're yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I think honestly, this might be my favorite episode just because of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
But it's just like you got to know who you're targeting. Like it's just it's like blindfolding yourself and firing a gun, hoping that there is a target somewhere in the vicinity. If you don't do any research or thought about things.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, that's it's probably a good place to wrap things up. Any final thoughts you want to share with us, Bobcat?
Let's get Angels Awakening to 100 backers.
Yes, and let's and if you haven't bought Magpie Wizard yet, buy Magpie Wizard.
Yep, that less of a time crunch on that, though. I do like money for more pizza. But,
yes.
And if you don't want to spend a lot of money, the digital edition is available on its own for $10, and you don't have to worry about shipping.
Yes.
Of Angels Awakening, I should say.
Yeah.
My digital edition is only $3 because I didn't have to pay an artist.
Right. All right. Well, I guess that is all the time we have for today. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Changus, thanks for coming. Edward, and
Kylum.
Kylum, yeah.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel, same all that stuff.
Yep. So smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, donate to the channel Patreon that doesn't exist. Remember to give us 3 thumbs up on Instagram, and I don't know how Instagram works.
It's they're just likes.
And I don't know. Post a link on MySpace.
Yes. Oh God, MySpace.
Because
Jeez.
why not?
Yes. All right, guys. I'm gonna play the trailer for Angels Awakening once again for anybody who didn't see it at the beginning. So, good night, everybody.
Good night.
The life of a spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.